Welcome to the Savvy Homeschooling Podcast. We're excited to get started today. I wanted to start today with an email because today is close to the beginning of the school year where I know we're all trying to get settled and adjust to our new schedules, at least those of us that change our schedule at the beginning of the school year. I know with us, we've had a lot of big changes this year. I've got my kids on a totally new schedule from the summer. So with that, I also know that there's a lot of you that have just started homeschooling, and your first year of homeschooling is a big year. And I know how difficult it can be and how fulfilling it can be at the same time. So we're going to get started with an email that a friend of mine sent to me today, and I'm going to read it to you, and I'm not going to tell you her name because I don't want to embarrass her, but the email says, "Hi friends, just a question, and I apologize for being negative up front. Is this supposed to be so hard that I want to pull my hair out every day? I have the curriculum, but I'm struggling. Seriously considering not doing this. Sorry to be negative, but that is the honest truth. Is this normal?" You don't need to reply because I know you're busy. And then she says, "Thank you." So I know that every mom that starts homeschooling at some point, whether or not you have felt this way yet or not, will feel this way. So we're just going to go through some of these questions. Is it supposed to be so hard that I want to pull my hair out every day? No. It is hard though. So there will be those times. I remember my first year of homeschooling, I went to my cousin's house who was my biggest homeschool mentor, and we were doing PE together. And I was 30 minutes late, and I had had a horrible morning, and I had yelled at my kids, and it was so hard. And I just still was questioning what I was doing. I felt like I should be homeschooling, but I didn't know exactly how to do it, or if I was going to do it right, or if I was going to screw up my kids. And so I went to her house 30 minutes late, and I just bawled like a baby. I just cried and cried, and I was like, I can't do this. It's too hard. My kids don't like me as their teacher, and I'm not doing it right, and I don't have the right stuff. And I just had zero confidence at that point. But that happens. That happens as part of the learning curve of homeschooling. So it won't be as hard that you want to pull your hair out every day, but there will be those times that it's really hard. So something to get around that is when you recognize that you're consistently feeling like it's too hard, it's time to step back and look at your expectations. Maybe write down why your 3 top reasons for homeschooling. Why do I do this? Why did I feel like I should do this? And why am I going to continue to do this? There were so many days when I was in my first year that I threatened my kids to send them back to public school because they would be naughty and they wouldn't listen to me. And I would just say, "I'm sorry, you are going back. If you don't do this, you're going back." And I knew the whole time that I would never, that I wouldn't send them back for a punishment. But that was just something in me that I just said because it was the first thing that always came to me. But if you can go back to those 3 reasons why you homeschool, then you can have a really powerful backing when you're questioning it. And you can really look at that and say, I homeschool because I felt like this was the right thing for my children. And because I know I'm their best teacher. And because I know no matter what we learn today, they're learning from me, and I have the guidance and the intuition to teach them what they need to know. And not every day is going to look perfect. I mean, I looked at moms that were homeschooling, and it looked perfect to me. Like they had it all organized, and they were learning everything every day. And really, you've got to look at what you're doing and say, is this realistic? One of the things that also helped me with this was to calendar my week and to block time. And you can go look at at our homeschool organizer for this. And I would block time in the weekly organizer. And I wasn't getting the things done my first year. I was just like, why can't we get every single thing done every single day? And then once I blocked my time, I realized that we really had, because of clubs and because of other activities that we were doing, we really had 3.5 days that we were home. And I kept thinking we had 5 full days, but we didn't. We had 3.5 full days. And so, of course, I'm not getting 5 days of stuff worth done, but I'm feeling like a failure because I'm not getting 5 days of stuff done. So, that's something to look at. Do your calendaring. So keep your 3 reasons and do your calendar. And maybe that will help you just realize I am doing a good job. I'm doing what I can do. And the bottom line is my kids are going to be happy because they're going to have me for their teacher. They're going to have each other to support each other and get to know each other once again. Like your kids had been in school. And my friends at least had been in public school. So they're just kind of learning how to mesh and learning how to learn from her and learning how to learn from each other. So that's huge. So she says, I have the curriculum, but I'm struggling. So the curriculum is important. I believe it takes time for your kids to realize that you're a reputable source for a teacher. For me, my kids were like, Mom, don't you think you should ask a teacher about that? And I was thinking, I'm smart, you can believe me for a second, but they really just have been taught, you go to school and you learn from your teacher. And Mom teaches us some stuff about the house, but we learn curriculum from our teachers. And so when you turn into that teacher, it does take time. It takes time to break away from that school schedule. Like my kids, I had to schedule a recess at first because they were like, when's recess? And I'm like, you've been playing for the last 30 minutes. But if I didn't call it recess, they just didn't take that. They had to have kind of that school structure in the beginning. So it takes time to break away from the schedule. And it also takes time for them to believe that you're a reputable source, but they will. It just takes time. I really believe that everyone should homeschool for 2 years before they give up, because the first year is tough and you're kind of wondering if it's going to work out or if you're keeping up with the other kids. And it sort of seems like it takes 2 years, not 2 full years, but it's like into the second year when you realize that your kids are doing great and they're thriving, and they may not be learning exactly what the other school kids are learning, but they're learning important things. Like, for example, we learned zoology last year, but my oldest, his friends learned about space. So he wasn't totally up to date on all his space facts, but his friends were. And sometimes he felt like he was behind, but his friends hadn't been learning zoology. So we just are learning different things. So keep that in perspective as well, that you're learning new things and your kids are learning new things. And your kids are also learning how to be home and how to be part of your household, because when they're in school, it's easy to send them to school and then get all the house cleaning done and everything. But now they have to be a part of that for the house to run properly. So there's a lot to this first year. So let's see. The next question is she says, seriously considering not doing this. Sorry to be negative, but that is the honest truth. Is this normal? So as I've explained so far, this is totally normal. This is totally normal. This is just something that you go through in your first year of homeschooling. It is a challenge. But I really believe with those 3 things backing you, what are your reasons? Like, let's think about some of those reasons, what they might be. Like, one of my biggest reasons is that I just had this feeling that I was supposed to homeschool. And every year I check in with that feeling. So with my oldest this year, he's going to the junior high for 3 classes. And we feel like that's right for this year. And maybe that'll change. But every year check in with that feeling. Then one of my other reasons to homeschool is that it gives us freedom. It gives us freedom to go places when we want to go and for how long we would like to go for. Like in January this year, we spent 3 weeks in California and there was no checking in. I didn't have to write an excuse note or go to a truancy court or something because my kids missed school. I just took them to California and we learned so much there and it was so great. So those for me are just a couple of my reasons. So I wrote an email like last year, this time, out to you all. And I said, what is your biggest fear in homeschooling? And I got responses back, and almost every single one of you, I got so many back, maybe like 30 or 40. And 90% of you said that you're not doing a good enough job in some way. Your biggest fear is that you're screwing up your kids or you're not capable of doing this. So, but you're all doing it. So my question to you is, do you really believe that? Because I think when you get down to it, you really believe that you're the best teacher for your kids or you wouldn't be doing it. I think that it's hard though. And I think that there are times where it is discouraging and you wonder and you think there's no way this could have been the thing that I could be responsible for such a huge part of their lives. But think about it. You're their mom. These kids were given to you for a reason. So you are responsible for such a huge part of their lives, but you're the best one for the job. That's not to say that you don't ever have anyone else teach your child, because I definitely believe that there are experts and mentors out there for each child that will motivate and inspire. In fact, we just hired a piano teacher for my son who is very inspirational and who will motivate him, I think, in a more inspirational way so that he feels like he wants to continue with the piano. So I do believe in mentors and all of that, but I believe that you get to choose that. I hear so many moms from the public school saying, we just had a bad year. Oh, yeah, we just had a bad year. We're just going to have a bad year. Oh, we got a teacher that we don't like, so this year's just going to be hard. But I'm thinking that's a year of your kid's life, and they're only 6 or 7 or 10, and they haven't had that many years. So a bad year is a bad year. And I just commend all of you for homeschooling your kids and for taking that into your control. And you can say, we're going to have a great year. And I choose who mentors you. And we choose your teachers together. We choose what you want to learn. And we choose what is the best way to make you great at what you're meant to do here. And I think that's amazing that you've taken that in as a responsibility, and you're not willing to just have a bad year. In fact, I heard someone say the other day that they had a 6-year-old granddaughter that just had a bad year last year, and the teacher kind of crushed her self-esteem. And it just broke my heart. I thought, this poor little kid, she's 6 years old and she's had a bad year, that's like a sixth of her life. And so I just think it's so important to recognize that when you take your child's education into your control and into your child's control, that miracles can happen and great things. And it is hard, and I know it's challenging, and it's a huge transition. Life changes, but it can change in great ways too. Try to focus on some positive things. Like one of my favorite things about my first year of homeschooling was I felt like we finally had time. We had time for some morning time as a family. We had time after school. My son played football, and my friends were all rushing around trying to do football and dinner and piano and homework and everything all at night, which I've done before. And I could just send my son at 3 o'clock, 3 to 5 or maybe it was like 4 to 6, 2 hours a day for football. And I could just send him. And that's like all he had after school. And he had time to enjoy it. Otherwise, he would have not enjoyed it at all. It would have just been crying every day. But he had the time for it. So those are some of the great things about homeschooling. So I'm going to wrap it up here, but just know that it will get better. If you're struggling, it will get better. Get in contact with a friend like my friend did here. She emailed me, and she didn't send this email just to me. She sent it to 3 people. And I'm sure that everyone has responded to her and given her advice and just that boost that she needs. My first year of homeschooling, I had this club for my son every Thursday, and I really felt like that got me through the year, because I could go every Thursday and talk to other homeschool moms, and they would say, good job, you can do it, and you're doing fine, and it looks horrible today, but you're going to be okay. And look at all the positive things that are happening, and they could help me see all those great things that are happening too, because it's so easy to see the negative, and it takes a little bit more effort to see the positive. So just get in touch with those friends, or go to Savvy Homeschooling and leave a comment, or go to the Facebook page and say, I'm struggling today. And there will be moms who can help you there, and I can help you there. So anyway, leave those comments, and we're so glad you're listening today. We appreciate you and love you, and are so grateful that you have taken this task into your lives, and your kids are going to be so happy and blessed for it. And we'll talk soon.